business you got?
I own an insurance agency with State Farm.
Yeah, all right, right on. Go ahead.
So one statistic you mentioned earlier, and I'm in agreement with you, I don't think that the federal government should raise the minimum wage, as well as I don't even think we should have a minimum wage for a variety of reasons, which you've talked about a lot of those. But the statistic I would like to know, you mentioned that 1.6% of the workforce makes a minimum wage. But what is the statistic of the workforce that makes, let's say the federal government were to raise the minimum wage to $10.10 an hour, like Obama wants to do, what's the percentage of the workforce that makes, let's say, between $7.25 and $10 an hour that would all receive a raise if the minimum, you know what I'm saying? So maybe 1.6 of the workforce makes $7.25 an hour, but what's the statistic of the workforce that makes less than $10.10 an hour?
I don't know, and you're right. That would be an interesting question. But an economist would look at that question and say, all right, so if we raise the minimum wage to $10.10 an hour, and it's presently $7.25, so if we raised it almost $3, you would capture everybody that's in the delta of $7.25 to $10.10, right?
Right.
You would bring them all up. Herein lies the problem. You got a guy that's making right now $9.80 an hour. He's been working for 3 years as a shop sweeper. He started at minimum wage. He's been given pay increases every 3 months. He loves those pay increases. It's a big incentive. He's getting essentially promoted, right?
Uh-huh.
Now he's boosted up to the minimum wage. The point of the minimum wage isn't what the number is. It's the buying power. And what no one addresses is if you artificially increase, because it's not the marketplace that did it, the marketplace will settle in at a certain number, and that number has had to be reflected by the increases in minimum wage in the past. And what we don't know is what would be the lowest wage paid across a lot of people if you eliminated the minimum wage. And I don't know. If the marketplace allowed, would people work for 5? Would they work for 4? Would they work for 3? We just don't know. But let's just assume $7.25 is where the marketplace was. It's not. That was an artificial number. But assuming that it was, now we move that to $10.10. Well, what you will do necessarily is you will alter the balance of pay scale, and you will increase the cost of the cheapest goods. Minimum wage employees buy goods and services that are provided by other minimum wage employees. So the shop sweeper that was making $7.25 will now be bumped to $10.10. But when he goes to McDonald's, the burger that used to be 99 cents or $2.99 or whatever that was will have to be increased in cost to accommodate the fact that the guy flipping the burger also got a pay increase. So did he get a net increase? No, he didn't, because you will create an artificial marginal inflation by dumping money into the economy, which has to be recouped. Here's the problem. When you do this, this is a wealth transfer. It's a wealth transfer from people on fixed incomes, which is typically older people, away from people with fixed incomes toward people working in entry-level positions. Now, why is that a bad thing? Well, first, let me tell you how that happens. So if I'm on a fixed income, I get $1,200 a month for my retirement or my pension or my Social Security, whatever that may be. And I'm at the back end of my life. I can never work again. I'm too old. Nobody wants me at 83. I'm on a ventilator. I sit and watch Price is Right in my stories all day long. I'm just biding my time until I die. And I'm hoping that with my little apartment or my house paid off, or maybe I have a little apartment and I pay it out of that $1,200, and I have enough for milk and coffee and Metamucil and my prescriptions, and that's all I need, because I'm not taking big trips or anything like that. I'm at the end of my life. And this is a real deal. Nobody talks about this. So that old person that gets $1,200 a month, the products they buy that are produced by minimum wage employees, or for that matter, the products that they buy that have the cost of employment, cost of labor built into them, will necessarily increase, because you cannot tell a company, you will all of a sudden pay your 85,000 employees $3 more per hour. They can't. They cannot. And you can say, well, that's not nice. They just want people to be poor. Never forget, and this is where we go wrong, American companies are not owned by labor. American companies are created by capital. This is important. Somebody put up the money to pay for that company, and that person demands a return. And when you tell them that you're going to have an increasingly diminishing return by investing in American business, capital is the easiest thing to flow across boundaries. Capital can go international. They will pick that capital up and they will invest in other countries. It's a fact. It happens. Stupid people don't get that because stupid people don't understand macroeconomic theory. But it's very simple. It is a law that humans will do this. The only people that don't understand it are the people that are minimum wage, and the only reason you're in minimum wage long term anyway is because you're an idiot. So when that happens, you have now burdened the little old lady living on $1,200 a month because now she can't afford her milk, and now she can't afford her heat-up meals, and she can't afford to walk next door and eat at the McDonald's. So you have passed a burden on to her at the back of her life when she can do nothing to alter it, to benefit a guy who should be on the front of his life if he's in an entry-level job. Is that very smart?
Michael Berry.